Hello everyone, today I want to share with you my updated fountain pen collection for 2026. If you didn't saw my fountain pen collection last year, you can watch it, which will be linked down below. So to begin with, I did change a bit, even the lineup from the fountain pens, because I have some that I use more than others. That's why I use two cases this time. I did had both of them because I had a lot of fountain pens, but as you saw, I had a couple that were broken at the end. That's why I decided to change the lineup. So in the brown case, I have fountain pens which are from extra fine till fine. And in the red case, I have only mediums. I will not swatch all of them, but I will share with you which ink I have inside. So let's begin. With the brown one. So in the brown one, I have only 4 fountain pens, which are extra fine, fine, extra fine, and fine. Why the Twisby is in between is because even though it's extra fine, for me it doesn't write as extra fine as this one, and even this one, even though this is fine. So I line them up regarding how thick they write. As well, because I usually use my planner, that's why I have also a mechanical pencil which I bought quite long time ago from Muji. That's why it's like only 84 yen, which I'm not sure how much it costs now, but yeah. So what I have here is, as you saw last year, this one, and this time I did try to match multiple with the ink, which for now is not possible because I do not have enough colors for that, but I do try to do that. So this one is with this ink, and this is the one who writes the finish from my collection. The only sad part is because the body is so small, as you see, the cartridge inside is also quite small and it doesn't hold a lot of ink. That's the downside about it. So if I would like to go on a travel with it, it's not an ideal experience. That's why I usually keep it here and don't travel with actually any of those. I did try to take the Twisby once, but I got scared that I will break it, so I'm looking into other options when I travel. What kind of fountain pen should I bring with me? So the next one is the one that I decorated with origami paper over here, and I did get it from AliExpress, and I think it is a copy from Sailor because of the sakura over here. I'm not quite sure about that, but still I decided to keep it. Also writes really good and thin. The only problem, I'm not sure if the camera is catching it, here you see slight discoloration because of the inks that I used. I still use the same ink for this pen, and I'm also happy that the cartridge is quite big, but maybe I will try to find something that doesn't have this mechanism, get more ink, and this part will be gone. But still I consider it, and I'm not quite sure if I will do that, but still is one of my favorite writing experience with it. The next one, of course, is the Twisby. Holds a lot of ink, still with the same ink because I decided to match it with a blue ink. Sure, it's not that light as the body itself, but still you won't be worried that you will not have enough ink through the day. I'm not quite sure how long actually will the ink last you for a whole day or so, because let's say if you go to university or to school, it's a bit different regarding what lectures you're taking. That's why in specific situations maybe this will last you even a week worth or a month. I'm not quite sure because I didn't test this one on its own. And the time when I went traveling with the 2SB, I didn't write that much. Let's say I wrote like a couple of sentences, but still for me this one even I think deserves not to be in this lineup because it still writes really thick. Even though it's an extra fine nib, I think it's somewhere in between the fine and medium nib, or maybe a medium even. I'm not quite sure. Moving on to the Kaweco fountain pen. I did get this one because of the style itself of the fountain pen, and this one actually is a fine nib. The only sad part about it is that I still didn't find any cartridge that will fit for it. And if I go to the store and ask for a cartridge and show them the cartridge of this fountain pen, the people will look at me and be like, are you crazy? Those cartridges are not for fountain pens at all. And I did order a couple of them online, but still for some reason they do not fit the fountain pen itself. The other thing is, as you see, I have a couple of stainage also here. And I notice you have slightly reddish or pinkish lines over here. But still the writing experience is pretty good. It's not as thin as I want it to be, but maybe in the future, if I find a place where they grind the nibs, I would prefer for them to grind the nib to an extra fine, so I will be able to use it even more. So this is the first case that I have. Moving on to this fountain pen case. So in this fountain pen case, I have only medium, as I said. There are 4 of them. I do use only 2 of those. I did say I removed the broken ones, but I don't want to mix them up with the broken ones. That's why the working fountain pens are also here, even though I do not use them. Not that I will forget or something, but for me it's just better to have the working ones at the same place. Now the 2 fountain pens that I do use are those 2, and those 2 are not inked at the moment. So starting with this one you can see design wise is pretty elegant, and it does feel cool to get out and maybe sign documents or something like this. But I do have the feeling if I bring it, it will break or something like this. I mean, I never had a fountain pen that fell or something like this, but still I have this fear that if I bring a gifted fountain pen somewhere, and that something will happen basically, and that's why I do not bring it on any travel with me. I still have the original cartridge with the original inks. As you see, also is quite small. I'm for sure able to find cartridges that are bigger, but what I noticed was I use the original ink, which flows really good. And if you remember from my last video, I had inked it with the red ink, which actually didn't flow quite good. And this is the ink actually who broke a lot of my fountain pens. That's why I did remove it and use the original ink. And that's why I have the fear that I will not be able to use it with another ink. And that's the situation when I'm out of the cartridges that I got gifted with this fountain pen. I think I will have to stop using it or find the same cartridges just in case, or the same brand ink to be sure that will not break this one. So moving to my newest edition. This one I actually got for my last birthday. I actually never saw a fountain pen like this actually. If you think about it, like, it's in manga style, but I mean, I watched also a lot of fountain pen videos and I never seen a pen like this, so I think this is quite rare to have in your collection. The grip itself is also something like an eraser. I'm not quite sure, but at least the cartridge is quite big, so I consider maybe I will be able to swatch it with the Kaweco as well, because I have a second cartridge with this one. Does it write like a medium? Sure. Do I use it as much? Not as much, because I still, like I said, with this one I have the fear that if I run out of the inks that they have, I will not have anything to replace them with. And at the moment I have only 4 inks that are working with the fountain pens, which are already inked with those 4. So in my eyes seems pointless to ink 2 or 3 fountain pens with the same ink. That's why I will consider getting other colors this year, but still I didn't decide which colors that will be. Or maybe you have a recommendation what ink color will be good to get for all 4 of those, or maybe switch a bit. Maybe those 2 will be switched with some of those or so. This is my updated 2026 fountain pen collection, and I hope to see you in the end of the year or in the beginning of 2027 to see what happened with all of my fountain pens. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye!